Welcome to the lesson on skill number 29 of Unit 5, Properties and Attributes of Triangles. Skill 29 reads, I can prove and use properties of triangle midsegments. We will begin our notes on page 05-14, Triangle Midsegments. A midsegment of a triangle is a segment that joins the midpoints of two sides of the triangle. What this means is that if we have a triangle and we find the midpoint of one side and the midpoint of the other side, so we have a midpoint here which creates that, and a midpoint over here which makes these halves congruent. The triangle midsegment is the line that connects those two midpoints. If we find the third midpoint, creating the congruency like this, then what we are able to do is draw another midsegment and finally a third midsegment. And what we've created is the midsegment triangle, as well as unlocking the altar to the Zelda Triforce. In the diagram in our notes, we have created triangle ABC, and triangle ABC has the midsegments XY, YZ, and ZX, creating the midsegment triangle XYZ. When we use the triangle midsegments, we're actually able to use what's called the triangle midsegment theorem. Move this up here. The triangle midsegment theorem says a midsegment is parallel to a side of a triangle and its length is half the length of that side. So XY is our triangle midsegment, and it is both parallel to AC and it is half the length of AC. So if we had a triangle here with a base of 10, the midsegment would be 5. As well as we'd be able to say that the midsegment is parallel. Using the corresponding angles postulate, we could say if this angle is 70 degrees, then this angle is also 70 degrees. Alright, let's take a look at an example of how the triangle midsegment theorem gets used. We're going to use the top of page 05-15 to write out the example 1. As you can see, I've drawn a figure of triangle ABC with midsegment triangle XYZ. We are given that BY is 11 and that the measure of angle BCA is 38 degrees. We're also given that ZY measures 9 and AC measures 28. We are asked to find the perimeter of triangle ABC, as well as the triangle of the perimeter of the triangle XYZ. Finally, they ask us to find the measurement of angle BYX. On the bottom half of page 515, we're going to replicate the drawing and draw in the known information, followed by what we discover using the triangle midsegment theorem. Alright, I've recreated the diagram here, and now let's go ahead and add the given information. First of all, we have BY is 11. Next, we're told that the measure of angle BCA is 38 degrees. Then we're told that ZY is 9. And finally, we're told that AC, this whole side of the triangle, is 28. Alright, let's start with the outer triangle. We know that this is congruent to this, so if BY is congruent to YC, then we can state that YC is also 11, which means the whole length BC is equal to 22. We can use the same logic to discuss AZ and ZC. Because the whole length is 28, we know that half of the length has to be half of 28, which is 14. And because AZ is congruent to ZC, we can also say ZC is 14. Next, looking at the side AB, we know by the triangle midsegment theorem that midsegment ZY is half the length of AB. So if ZY is half of AB, we can say that the total length of AB is 18. Using that piece of information, we can conclude that AX is 9 and XB is 9. Finally, we want to talk about the midsegment triangle, the triangle inside. We already have one length, which is 9. We can find the other two lengths by looking at the other two midsegments. If AC is 28, the midsegment to AC would be half of 28, or 14. And then the base BC is 22, so the midsegment for that base, which is XZ, would be half of that, or 11. Using this information, we should be able to conclude our three asked information pieces. Find the perimeter of triangle ABC, and find the perimeter of triangle XYZ, and find the measure of BYX. The perimeter of ABC would be 18 plus 22 plus 28, which is 68 units. And the perimeter of XYZ would be 11 plus 14 plus 9, which is 34 units. The thoughtful observer will notice that the midsegment triangle has a perimeter exactly 1/2 of the outer triangle, and that seems to reason, since each length of the midsegment is half of the length of a base of the outside triangle. Finally, we're asked to find the measure of angle BYX, and this is actually a relatively easy question. The BCA angle is given to us as 38 degrees. Because the midsegments are parallel, XY is parallel to AC, we can use the corresponding angles postulate to say BYX is congruent to BCA. Because those angles are congruent, we're able to say they are equal to each other. So the measure of BYX is equal to 38 degrees. Alright, this concludes our lesson on skill number 29. I can prove and use properties of triangle midsegments. The way the skill test will look for this is we will be asked to find lengths of midsegments, perimeters of triangles, and angles of triangles and midsegment triangles. It would be good if you memorized the triangle midsegment theorem. Thank you.